in light of the whole Nolan Wells situation and whatnot, I want to talk about growing up in Whitley County because when I moved there, I was in fifth grade, and even just us moving there from somewhere else, and like I didn't have an accent yet at that point because we'd lived in Florence, and like they don't have accents. Them having that y'all water tower is very ironic. Uh, they were hardcore, like y'all ain't from around here when we moved to Corbin. Like even the little kids in fifth and sixth grade, it was crazy how like xenophobic and backwards even the children were. And I've talked about how like I have kind of internet beef with Colonel Sanders' actual nephew. What got that started was I saw a thing where he had posted, and I couldn't tell. I thought maybe he didn't know or what have you, but like he he was attaching himself to Corbin and was talking about how like KFC Corporation doesn't seem too gung ho to like have him be any part of anything, and he just wants to keep the actual, Colonel Sanders was a real person. He wants to keep that alive. And I was trying to kind of hip him to the idea of like, dude, their corporate people have probably done the research and they probably have their reasons to downplay Colonel Sanders. Now, this was about two, maybe almost 3 years ago. It was when I first came back to Monroe. So, yeah, it was probably almost 3 years ago. It's interesting that now they are kind of using the Colonel again in this climate because at the time they weren't. Um, But at any rate, I was like kind of trying to hip him to like, yo, I think the reason they don't really use the Colonel or like when I was growing up, their slogan was our neck of the woods. That might hit a little funny this age, this day and age. So I was just trying to tell him like, yo, you may not want to attach yourself to that place like that. And in the comment section, somebody else had mentioned, and I was like, well, I'm just saying it was always a rumor because somebody else in the comments had mentioned, well, I heard Colonel Sanders, blah, 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 the Klan. And I was like, I don't know if it's true or not, but it was always rumored around town. And my main point is the rumor was always spoken almost as a little bit prideful. Like, yeah, our hometown hero funded the Klan on the sly. That was kind of how they would say it. And I started hearing that literally when I very first moved there, like in fifth grade, children were telling us, like to scare us, how there was still the Klan, and like instead of telling us like a certain house was haunted, they told us about the hanging tree, how they never cut it down. There's still the tree that they did the last public hanging in, and I think those kids were getting confused about the whole 1914 thing because this would have been right when that documentary was being made. But that's how insular and backwards that place was. Is even the young children were like that xenophobic and weird and scary. Um, and then, like I said, middle school, high school, like I got kicked out of high school twice for standing up for my friends. Uh, Middle school, eighth grade year, my art teacher literally worked out a deal that I would not be in the hallways because I was getting jumped that regularly by all the rednecks. There was no diversity at that school. It was 100% white. The closest anything they had to hate on was us little freak kids. We had Kaywood come out as gay. Um, I think he would have been like a sophomore. Uh, but when he came out, that literally set off such a powder keg. There was Kaywood came out, and I can't remember the kid's name, but some kid wrote for the high school paper. Some kid, because they were all the time on us about like band T-shirts and stuff, like rock and roll T-shirts. but you could wear all the rebel flag, like anything you wanted, and it was a whole thing. And somebody wrote an article in the paper called "The Third Be My Rebel Flag," and it was just roasting them. That kid started getting beaten up daily, and the administration did nothing about it. K. Lloyd came out, he got beat up every day. The administration did nothing about it, to the point that all us kids like banded together and started standing up for ourselves and each other, like we had to. Uh, like it was so bad. Even, my mom even supported what I was doing in terms of like we were doing things to protest. Like we almost had a walkout. At one point, the news crews were there, but we weren't allowed to talk to them. But I mean, it was so volatile because like Whitley County, even up after Columbine, but definitely up to Columbine, and like I said, even after that parking lot always had shotguns. Like there was always people with farm trucks and whatnot that's what they drove to school, and there was a gun rack in it, and it wasn't empty. There were several vehicles I know of that probably had more than one firearm in them at all times on that high school campus in the parking lot, and they were aware of it. Like I couldn't have got away with it, guaranteed. I was told in no uncertain terms. One of the times I got kicked out, it was over a pocket knife, and I pointed out like I bought that. I wouldn't say who, but I was like I bought that here. Like I bought that knife here in school from somebody that had a bunch. I mean, they were like a vendor. And KP, our principal, Kenneth Powell, literally said, I don't care if everyone else has 100 pocket knives, you can't have one. They asked me why I even had it, and I was like, oh, well, I had been threatened. Somebody told me I needed a haircut. When I told them, they're welcome to try that, they pulled a knife out. So after that, I started carrying one. They twisted that into, oh, so you were carrying a knife with the intention of hurting someone. Funny how, and that's why a lot of this stuff going on right now. I'm like, dude, I'm not new to it. I know your playbook. You're not as clever as you think. They get cocky because people just it's not worth calling them most of the time. Like a lot of it's like really, like I mean, it's if it's worth it to you for everyone to know you're that much of a whatever, I guess. But then at a certain point, you gotta put your foot down. And they're always shocked when it's me doing it because I'm like a little unassuming guy. I'm the last one they ever expect, and then I end upside the head. But no, my point is, I would want to know a lot more about the backstory of that situation with I keep fucking up his name. I'm sorry, but because I mean I don't put it past. I know they're kids, but I've known some sociopath kids, dude. The first time I ever saw somebody get clean, melted, knocked out, I still remember it so distinctly. I still remember exactly who it was threw the punch and how it went. He ran up on this kid that was not a fighter. I don't know what that kid did. I really don't. I ended up talking to several of the people, like the dude that did the punch. I ended up dating his sister years later, and I asked her. I was like, "Is that girl?" Because the way it went, dude runs up on this guy and goes, "Hey, were you calling my cousin a lessie?" And dude's like, "Who's your cousin?" Dude says a name, and the kid goes, "No!" And he's like, "Are you calling her a liar?" Oh, at that point, you're hit, dude. There's no correct answer. And he already had him up against the wall, like in his. He said, "You calling her a liar?" And I knew then it was a wrap. The kid tried to stutter, and he just smoked him, dude. And it was so loud, and that kid just slid down the wall like something out of a movie. He just and slid down the wall, slumped him. That was in like I think I might have been a sophomore. That's the thing with Whitley County. And I'd be willing to bet a lot of those southern schools still do this. Whitley County holds you back if you showed potential at football. Like the kid I'm talking about graduated just before he turned 20 because they had held him back so he'd get like 3 varsity years. Uh, that was not uncommon. We went to school with adults regularly. That lended itself to the whole like Romeo and Juliet. You'd have freshmen dating damn near 20-year-old men. That was super common. It's a wonder we didn't have more teen pregnancy, truth be told. But now, just I'd want to know a lot more of the backstory because I don't put it past him to have never been his friend. Not really. Uh, they might have been teammates, but I'd be real curious to have been a fly on the wall about some things because I remember I wasn't there, but it wasn't too long after I got kicked out the last time, and that would have been my senior year anyway. Like I was weeks from graduation and got into it with the principal. But I think it was like 1 or 2 years after that, Whitley County got their first black kid, and he played football and stuff, and people were real open about like that was all that got him through is that kid could play football. Uh, it was borderline perverse the way people talked about it, and I'm 90% sure it was like one of the coaches had adopted. It was like some blindside shit. It was weird. But yeah, as far as that goes, like I heard that they changed it, but the mural in Whitley County. Okay, this was way before any kind of DEI or anything like that. We're talking when I was there in the mid '90s. The mural was old. It had been there since like the '80s. We didn't even get Martin Luther King Day off for nothing. So like there, like I said, 100% white school. Tell me why this mural showed like a park with people playing and this and that, and in the foreground there were some kids playing football. There's only one black kid in the group, and he's getting the shit tackled out of him by like 4 other kids. Uh, like we all used to joke about, like, dude, the mural's a hate crime. Like the way it was done, it was like big tile, so it wasn't super detailed, but you could tell like it was one black kid. I mean, I guess they're playing football, but like it looked fairly sketchy, and it would have made more sense for Whitley County for there to just not be a black kid in the mural at all. Like it felt very deliberate, and all of us used to like point that out. Um, but yeah, I'd be real curious the actual circumstances of that so-called friendship because I dead serious growing up like after high school, when MySpace came out, I had several cheerleaders hit me up and be like, dude, I flirted with you. Why'd you never? And I was like, dude, I thought it was a setup. Y'all, like the football team and whatnot, was so aggressively hateful and da 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 towards me. Like, I got called the F slur all the time. Uh, like they full on let shit go on that would have been hate crimes. But yeah, I had two different cheerleaders hit me up and be like, dude, I all but threw myself at you. What the hell? And I was like, dude, I didn't trust it. I thought at best you were trying to embarrass me and possibly even get me hurt. So, like, much less if some of the football players had been like, oh, dude, we want you to come, have your band come play at one of our parties. It would have been a slaughter. They would have broke our instruments, all that. Like, I know better. I know better. And I'm white. I know the lighting ain't great, but like I'm a white dude, and I know better. Like growing up in Corbin, Kentucky, I would not have trusted that. And I'm not making excuses. Like it's messed up that it's like that. But I doubt those kids were ever his friend, dude. I don't trust it. Like, I'm still very close to most of my core friends from high school because we all feel like we went through something together there. Like, we're trauma bonded, basically. Uh, so, I mean, that's my hot take on it is that I don't trust that they were ever his actual friend, and I wonder how premeditated all of this was.